and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
What is and what should never be an opportunity for you and me to showcase our skills, yet to say, I'm good. I'll wait till my pro day. That is the case for many of these top stars. Day 4 at the Combine in Indianapolis, and with apologies to Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, I had to steal one of the great all-time riffs from Led Zeppelin. Zepp's cover band's coming in just a couple of weeks at the Florida Theater. Always a phenomenal time, especially if you reach with your left, add substance, reach with your right, add cocktail. I mean, just fantasy, right? Imagine it's actually Led Zeppelin. We do that this time of year. We're doing it with the draft. We're doing it with free agency. We're doing it with get rid of the 4 and 13. It's what could end up happening several months down the road. And today is the 4th day at the Combine. For crying out loud, we wave goodbye to February tomorrow? Are you kidding me? That's it? I mean, where have you gone? February. March, we have the Players' Championship. We'll be all over the place, as we always are, at Sawgrass. On the 10th, legal tampering in the NFL. You can actually sign players on the 12th, but we'll know about it on the 10th and 11th. And then, of course, March Madness, the beginning of Major League Baseball. You have Florida State, Florida playing here baseball-wise as well in the month of March. It is going to be incredible, but we still got a lot of work to do the final 2 days of February. So it's great to have you with us. We're going live to Indy in 20 minutes. Demetrius Harvey's going to join me live from the Combine. Of course, he is the Jaguars beat writer for the Florida Times-Union. Today's a disappointing one for me. For a number of reasons. I just don't get why these top players don't work out. And it's not like it's new. It's happened this way forever. But talk me down, because it just feels like to me that this is not a special class. This is a you hope for the best type of class. I mean, let me begin by offering this up. Again, fantasy, fiction. Maybe in this case, it's a nightmare. You don't have anything to worry about when it comes to the draft and your quarterback. Trevor Lawrence is locked in for 6 more years. But if he was not, and you were a team that needed to address under center once again, where's your faith right now in Shedeur Sanders? Where's your faith right now in Cam Ward? And they get an opportunity to throw to the best wide receivers coming out of college into the NFL. I mean, where is your certainty here? Certainly, I don't have it, okay? I think both are tremendously flawed. I think in the case of Sanders, there's immaturity issues. I think in the case of Sanders, he hangs onto the ball a little bit too much. Cam Ward travels, goes from place to place to place to place. What, 3 different stops in his college football career? Again, that doesn't present itself directly to you because you're not a Jaguar fan, but wouldn't you like to see him throw, knowing that Jacksonville's at number 5? If you can get those 2 quarterbacks to go ahead of you, that only leaves, 2 position players who can go in front of when the Jaguars do select at number 5. On top of that, Will Campbell. Actually, we'll get to him in a moment. Will Johnson, not working out. Is he the highest decorated defensive back in this class? He says he will. We talked all about him yesterday. Mason Graham. All he's going to do is bench. Comes in today at 6'3.5", 296 pounds. So obviously he lost the weight. I mean, he's listed at 320. So he's down 24 pounds. Typically, when you lose 24 pounds, you do that because you want to be quicker with the 3-cone, the short shuttle, all the agility and drills, if he's going to save this once again for Pro Day in Ann Arbor, okay, fine, but do you want him weighing 296 pounds by Pro Day? No. Wouldn't you like to see him lay down the great tape, lay down the great times, and then by the time you put him on the scale during that Pro Day, he's up to 310, 315. He looks at it and he says, don't worry about it, I'm going to add more weight. This is the decision that these guys continue to make. And it's from agents. I get it that if you were ranked that high, they're being told, don't blow it. In the case of the Jaguars, I really don't know how much that comes into play. I think one of the most intriguing things to monitor now with James Gladstone and with Liam Cohen and with Tony Baselli and everyone involved during their evaluation process is if you have an understanding of what Los Angeles has done. Les Snead and company with the Rams were much more set on hours and hours and hours of film compared to what they do at the combine. It does not mean it's not important, okay? It doesn't mean it's not important. But I think you have to take that into consideration. Now, I'm not saying that all 32 teams do that. Obviously, the former general manager here was a workout warrior guy. I'm sure if he was honest with you and you sat him down, you had a couple of cocktails with him, he'd tell you the most important thing he looks for at the line of scrimmage is what? Arm length, right? That is the most, and I don't know if that is true for everyone that is out there. You know, when the late Gil Brandt, the 7 years I was in Chicago, our two football experts who rotated on all of our shows were Brian Baldinger and the late Gil Brandt. And if you don't remember who Gil Brandt was, he didn't bring analytics into play because that was absolutely not the case back with the Dallas Cowboys in the, in the 60s and in the 70s. But he, along with Tex Schramm and Tom Landry, they almost invented a new way, a new phase of scouting back then. And I learned so much from Gil. For instance, he used to tell me, this is long before television, right? This is when maybe you had, 100 people there. And they were actually right out on the track. And you could watch these guys do the 40. You weren't in the bleachers like they are now inside the RCA Dome in Indianapolis. It was nothing like that. It was a totally different world. And he said that during the 40-yard dash, everyone would be at the 40. Everyone would want to see what these guys run and where these guys would go from, 0 to 40. And he said he, along with the late Al Davis, they were the only ones that they were right where they got off the block. Gil Brandt wanted to see what these guys could do on their initial step, their first 10 yards. And I always thought that was really intriguing. But Gil Brandt also swears by this, okay? Deion Sanders back in 1988 wasn't going to run. Gil Brandt told him to run, and he did run. Now, this comes from the mouth of the late Gil Brandt. I have no reason not to believe him. I do not know if Deion Sanders has ever been asked that question, but why would Gil Brandt tell me anything but the truth? And not only did he say it to me personally, he said it on my radio show several times over the years. I just think that you have this opportunity to show the whole world what you are about. Wouldn't it be refreshing to see the best prospect in the draft say, that's it, I'm going to do it? But in this case, no. They're not going to throw. They're not going to run. They're not going to do any of the drills. They'll wait for the home cooking and actually do that on campus. Okay, so enough of that. Let's get to the team here along the First Coast. Today's disappointing for me because Trey Smith is gone. He is clearly far and away the number one guy that I would have gone after when free agency began. Now, I know some of you out there are caught up in the what have you done for me lately, and it was not a good offensive line showing for Kansas City in their Super Bowl loss against Philadelphia. Many have said both guards got blown up that day. Trey Smith is only 25 years of age and said he's going to settle for a franchise tag. It's 1 year. He'll get $23.4 million. I'm sure he won't show up at all during the offseason. I'm sure he will not be a part of training camp. He will be told that by his agency, and hopefully Kansas City will be able to put together for him, with a 3 to 4 year contract extension with a ton of guaranteed money, which he is looking for. Again, we can't relate to this because it just doesn't make sense. You're trying to tell me $23.4 million for 1 year guaranteed is not enough? It's not. It's not for a 25-year-old. They want a 4-year deal that's north of $100 million, and they want 60 to 70 to 80 of that to be guaranteed. So, again, it's almost like monopoly money, and it's hard to clearly, put yourself in that particular situation because, this is the 0.00000, 0.1%, if you will, or 0.00001%. It's almost impossible to think that way. But the salary cap, by the way, did come out today. It was official, $279.2 million, up $24 million from the 2024 year. So, cross off Trey Smith. What's next for the Jaguars? How about Will Campbell? Enter him. A couple of people have blown me up the last few days asking about Will Campbell. If you're a regular listener, I do thank you. If you're a regular listener, you know my opinion on all of this. I'm wide receiver and I'm right guard 1 in 1A. Those are the first two positions I want to have taken care of. Yesterday's show was all about defensive tackle Mason Graham, who didn't work out today as well. As I said, the only thing Mason Graham is going to do in Indianapolis is the bench press. And once those numbers are made available to us, I will share them with you. Will Campbell's been on the left side. He played left tackle this year. He is primarily a left guard. Arm length is a concern for him. He may not get it to 33-plus inches. If so, shorter arms, what do you do in the NFL? You slide inside. Some of you may say, well, they have a left guard. His name is Ezra Cleveland. I say, get better. Get Will Campbell. Make him a left guard. Throw Ezra Cleveland over to right guard. Or better yet, go get a right guard. But all of a sudden, these are the two that I had highlighted. And I did. I wanted the money to be spent in free agency for right guard. Now, they may go back that way. They may go to Mekhi Becton. They may go to Will Fries. The Fries thing to me, and I'm scarred because of what we witnessed a year ago. I wouldn't go to Will Fries because he went out in week 5. And he spent the rest of the year on the sideline. And Jacksonville just did that in free agency. They brought in injured players. I mean, why would you pay that amount of money for Eric Armstead, who couldn't get healthy? For Darnell Savage, again, for the bad contract for Gabe Davis, a guy who's never caught more than 48 balls a year. To have more than $20 million worth of dead cap money hanging over his head this year, and the guy caught 20 balls? Bad contracts. And they were all injured. So don't you kind of want to stay away from Will Fries because of that reason and that reason only? Here's what I have today. It's really weird, the vibe that's coming out of Indy. More and more and more and more we're seeing available in a trade. Available in a trade. Right? Who's the guy? Los Angeles Rams, Jonah Jackson. Last year just signed a 3-year, $51 million contract, right? Here it is, year 2 in L.A., and they're like, go ahead, you can go. Someone want to take on your dead cap money? Someone want to take on your salary? Jacksonville can have them. There's an $8.5 million guaranteed check that is applied to his contract on March 12th, which is the same day as the start of the league's year. There's a guy right there that can fill the void for you at right guard, but it's going to cost. I don't think it's going to cost a lot as far as draft compensation. It's going to cost a lot against your cap, okay? But it feels like to me that what's coming out of Indianapolis is that all of a sudden players are becoming available more and more and more and more, and that's only going to continue to grow right before the start of the league year. And that's obviously going to really intensify as well once the NFL draft does begin in the latter part of April. The other side of this is draft day trades. And I know I'm in the minority here, but I almost feel as though if you were to bet stay at 5 or trade, either way, whether it's up or down, why do I believe right now that Jacksonville would trade? And that's rare. It is. I mean, betting-wise, it is. It's not rare that we won't see 2, 3, 4, 5 trades in the first round. But it's rare to not be in need of a quarterback and say, yeah, I think this organization is going to trade. That's what I'm feeling today. It's so simple. And if you were to do it odds-wise, it would probably be, minus 800 that the Jaguars stay, where you lay $800 to win 100. You stay at 5. And you could probably catch some enormous numbers. I don't know, maybe plus 500, maybe plus 550. Lay down 100, the Jags trade. You bring back 500. You bring back $550. I mean, the odds would be that different, in my opinion. But I'm feeling that today. I am. I think that this organization could trade up. I think that this organization could trade back. We'll see. We'll leave it right here on the 27th day of February. Where I am today, the Jaguars trade back, and the Jaguars get Will Campbell, offensive lineman out of LSU, still in the top 10, but clearly not at number 5. I'll ask Demetrius Harvey about that coming up in 7 minutes. I'm sure he'll have an opinion, and he may laugh at what I just said, or who knows? He could be on board. Hey, you can get on board as well. 641-1010. Our text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures. All right, welcome in Shmunez Vision. They open up things for us here on Into the Night each and every evening. Tremendous folks over there. They just celebrated their 4th birthday, and they've saved more than $1 million when it comes to cataract surgery because they avoid unwanted expenses. Being the most expensive isn't always the best. It is if you're talking about tickets. It is if you're sitting on a plane and it's first class or coach, but it's not always that way, especially when it comes to your eyes. If you have a problem, and I hope you don't, but let's face it, we're all getting older. You think you may have a cataract issue. You may think your refractive surgery is something that you could need. Sit with the best. They'll answer each and every one of your questions, and then Dr. John Hunt, Dr. Catherine Shmunez, Dr. Neil Shmunez, they are the 3 as well who will talk with you, take you through everything. They also perform surgery. Wonderful website. Check them out. Shmunez Vision, also on Instagram. You can get the very latest as far as testimonials at Shmunez Vision as well. All right, I'm fired up for tonight's show. I really am. How about Jake Napa? 59 today at Cognizant. Are you kidding me? A 59. He started with 5 birdies, 12 under par, a 59. The Florida Swing is officially underway as well on the PGA Tour. But coming up next, we go live to Indianapolis, the very latest on the NFL Combine.
Denny Hamlin.
I'm Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Denny Hamlin wins his 2nd Daytona 500.
And you're listening to 1010XL, Jack's Sports Radio.
Hey, John, have you heard about the incredible offers at Randy Marion Cadillac?
They've got rates as low as 3.9% for 36 and 48 months on the stunning 2024 Escalade.
That's right. Experience luxury like never before. Whether it's the exquisite interior or the advanced technology, every drive feels like a royal experience.
Visit Randy Marion Cadillac today on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville.
And don't forget, Randy Marion is the king of price. Drive and indulge in luxury at Randy Marion Cadillac.
Plus tax tag Title 999 admin fee with resist all and approved credit.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at barryorthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com. You
don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Start your Saturday with a whiff of the great outdoors.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman, and we bring you the fresh air of the great outdoors.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning on 1010XL.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Duck Rooter is currently hiring in all departments. We want great plumbers, CDL drivers, drain field installers, and lift station technicians. If you have experience in your trade and love to deliver a super high-quality level of customer service, you have found the right company. You will enjoy our benefits package that includes excellent weekly pay, paid holidays, health insurance, and working for the best in the industry. Apply at duckrooter.com. That's duckrooter.com. And click on the careers page. Duck Rooter is an equal opportunity employer.
From humble origins on Beach Boulevard to the grandeur of the old homestead, Taco Lou has bucked the odds, selling cheap tacos and even cheaper beers since 2008. I'll be the first to lament that nothing is cheap anymore, but much has not changed in 17 years. Bangin' Shrimp still rocks, margaritas flow day and night, and we love to see old friends and make new friends every day. You can still spin the wheel or sit outside on the patio in the sun with friends and family. It's been a ton of fun, and we have you, Jacksonville, to thank for 17 years. Taco Lou in Jacksonville Beach.
Prosser here, still telling you about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures is keeping the sale going into February. Enclosures starting at only $89 a month, and if you get a complete enclosure done, you get free flooring. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring is running a buy one room, get the second room free. Now offering floor coating for that garage or patio deck too. Give them a call or visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that's been chosen as the exclusive pest control provider for the brand new state-of-the-art Miller Electric Performance Center. As a Kingfish customer myself, I know their effectiveness in keeping spiders, roaches, bugs, and termites out. When I trust them for my family and the Jags trust them for their business, then you can too. For the best service in town, call my friends at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and you got really cool things going on right now because there's new product coming in the showroom. Tell everybody about the Aprilia Demo Days.
March 11th and 12th. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to have the Aprilia Demo Truck. We caught them on the way back from Daytona Bike Week. They're going to be there. Come ready to ride.
Tell everybody real quick about Aprilia.
They are a bad Italian motorcycle. Nobody's ever ridden an Italian anything and said that wasn't fun.
Check it out. Cycles of Jacksonville. All the details on their Facebook page.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Yeah, this is Demetrius Harvey music right here. Hodges Mazda at the Avenues. They do present the NFL Combine. Right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, brought to you by Window World of Northeast Florida. Jaguars beat writer, Florida Times Union, Demetrius Harvey goes into the night with Rick Ballou. How you doing, Demetrius?
I'm doing all right. How about you, Rick?
Good, and I'm disappointed to learn that you're not a Starbucks guy because I thought you'd have an up close and personal for us on Jordan Schultz and Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, you know what? I actually am a Starbucks guy, but my hotel has a Starbucks in it, basically, so I didn't have to go.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would absolutely be all over that. And,
Right.
That's an interesting story there.
Yeah, media wars are so, they really are. They're almost appalling in a way, and I almost never do them. But this thing's really made the rounds there in Indy.
Oh yeah. Everyone's talking about it here. Everyone's doing their funny pictures too, taking shots at the Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, marking themselves safe and all that stuff. Everyone's kind of talking about it. It sounded like it was just two people who had alternative reports, and one of them got upset at the other and confronted them, and that's pretty much all that happened. But I do think it's strange as well. I think I said as much on Twitter, so I couldn't possibly be in that position, but maybe that's because I'm not Ian Rappaport.
I missed you during the introductory press conference here with James Gladstone. I got to ask him a couple of questions. You were on your way to Indy. You met with him the very next day. Your overall impression with the Jaguars general manager?
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed. In terms of his, it seems as though he's a really well-spoken guy. Obviously everyone's talking about his age, but for me, all I do is listen to the words they say. And, he uses some word salad a little bit, but he gets his point across. And I think that it's very obvious how much Les Snead has had an impact on him, how much that Rams front office has had an impact on him, because he's able to think probably in a more modern direction than I feel like a lot of other general managers have done, and even the one that was just with the Jaguars. So, overall, we have to obviously see what he's able to do, but from what he's said and how he's sort of determined, what this organization needs to go or where it needs to go, I feel like, so far so good.
And if you take what he has said and you take what Liam Cohen has said, the one thing that I got out of it that really has impressed me is both really stating the importance of that offensive line and protecting Trevor Lawrence. I think oftentimes, that can be said, but maybe not believable. 4 of the 5 returners come back. That to me really caught my eye. Coming from 2 different directions, kind of said in different ways, but the importance there with the OL.
No, listen, Rick, they absolutely are emphasizing the need to protect Trevor Lawrence, and it starts up front. I mean, they know what the needs are, and it was actually pretty funny. Liam, sort of told us when we were doing the little scrum with him, we know what the needs are, and in my head, I'm like, no, just go ahead and tell us. But obviously, at right guard, with Brandon Sheriff, that's going to be out. He's a free agent. I don't expect him to be back, obviously. So that's an immediate hole that they're going to have to fill. And then beyond that, I do think that this offensive line doesn't have to be set up. I know that we've said, obviously, 4 out of 5 of the starters are returning, but you don't necessarily have to start a Mitch Morse at 32 years old going into this season. And you don't necessarily have to stick with an Ezra Cleveland going into the second year of his deal. So to me, I feel as though those 2 positions are still wide open. Obviously, center more than left guard. But to me, if they're being serious about upgrading this offensive line, then they're going to address all 3 issues.
Day 4 of the NFL Combine, live from Indianapolis. Demetrius Harvey, of course, you read him all the time. He covers the Jaguars beat with the Florida Times-Union. All right, I've tried to be as supportive and confident in all of this. I really feel good for Jaguar fans because it almost feels like it's not 4-13 anymore. Here it is, the final days of February, and there's regained hope, and it just feels really all positive, and that's great for them. But when the the skeptic in me comes out, it's like we know they're all first timers, but this whole collaboration, I can't come to agree upon this, Demetrius. I mean, if it's Christian Kirk, if it's Evan Ingram, if it's the 5th pick, if it's the first move in free agency, what if Baselli and Gladstone say we do this, but Cohen says we do that? I don't see how this can work with it being an agreed upon decision.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I will say I do think that, and it's something that I believe either Liam or James said. I can't remember. I think it was Liam. He said basically that, hey, or actually it could have been Tony Baselli. But, they essentially said, hey, if we can't come to an agreement on anything, then we're just not going to even go in that direction at all. Now, is that the proper way to assess something? Say they are differing on Will Johnson, for instance. Cohen likes him, Tony and James don't. Do they just not even entertain the possibility anymore? What if 2 out of 3 of them like him? If the one doesn't, do they not entertain it? I don't think it's as clear cut, black and white as that. Obviously, with the way that the ship is set up, Tony is at the top. James and Liam sort of down below him. In my opinion, if it comes down to it, they would never admit it. Who knows who actually has the final say? But I do think that Tony would have a little bit more sway here, or even actually maybe Liam because he's the head coach. So I think it'll work out. I think that Liam and James, because they know each other, because they're familiar, I think, we obviously both know Tony Baselli. He's not some guy who's going to be that stubborn, or maybe he is. But it should be more. It should be smoother than I think we would think.
All right, in our final couple of minutes, give us your thoughts on a few players. What did you make yesterday of meeting Mason Graham?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mason seems like, the typical defensive tackle. You're not going to get much out of him in terms of talking, but he's impressive looking. I mean, he seems like a guy that, on tape, obviously, is very powerful, fast, physical. He's somebody that you would be able to plug and play right away. He's not the most exciting player. He's not an Aaron Donald, but I thought that he was impressive. I thought that what he said yesterday was pretty impressive. And I guess we'll just see from there.
Yeah. Travis Hunter, much like Graham, Graham's going to bench press. Hunter's not going to do anything. He's going to wait to the pro day. Many believe that he won't be there at 5. But for what it's worth, your thoughts there on Travis Hunter?
Yeah, no, I mean, he was obviously the star of the show. Rick, I actually stood there for 2 hours or maybe more, waiting for basically Travis Hunter, standing in the very front of that number 8 podium, just because I knew he was going on at 11. I had to be there, and so I was there at 9 to 11, just standing there waiting, and it was just really impressive how much he drew. But I will say the funny part was that every time anyone tried to ask him anything about playing one position, he kind of deferred it and said, no, he's going to play both. And so that's going to be interesting to see. He's obviously a very impressive player, won all the awards. If he's there at 5, you have to run up and go ahead and get him. I don't expect him to be there at 5, but it'll be interesting to see how a team uses him, because he is very adamant about wanting to play on both sides of the ball full time. I don't think that's really realistic in a 17-game schedule, but I guess we'll see.
All right, let's wrap it up with this, and I'm going to tell you, I am fully sober, okay? I am, and I won't be in 2 hours, but I am right now. I think they're trading out at 5. I really do. I think if they could move down a few spots and get Will Campbell, they would. It just feels to me like there's so much going on, and we know Les Snead when he moved for Jalen Ramsey, and he moved for Matt Stafford, and then they really built up their scouting under Gladstone late. But I know the betting cycle would say they're staying at 5, but am I crazy to believe that they're moving out?
I don't think you're crazy at all. I think that they've obviously said how much they love draft picks. Now, does that mean that they're going to use all the draft picks? No, I think that they love the draft picks because they can maneuver around, and acquiring more of that capital makes so much sense, because then they can move around even more during rounds 2 through 7. So yeah, absolutely. I do think that trading down is a very very good option, and I think that it could happen. And, you mentioned Will Campbell. I was thinking the same thing. You could draft Will Campbell, play him maybe at left guard or right guard, and figure it out from there. I think that they need to address the offensive line. I think that being able to trade down and acquire more picks and doing that would be perfect.
What are you working on with the TU? What's coming up this weekend?
Yeah, no, I got obviously a bunch of stuff. I just did a Travis Hunter story that went up not too long ago. I got a mock draft coming, post-combine mock draft should be out around maybe Monday or so. And then, just everything else about the combine, you can find it on Jacksonville.com.
Great stuff. I know we'll catch up after the draft. Safe travels back here to Duval.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
There he goes. Good stuff there. Demetrius Harvey joining us live from Indianapolis. The very latest out there. Got to get a right guard. I love it. I love it. See, listen, I love his pitch on Morse. I love his pitch on Ezra Cleveland. You know, I've already forecasted a trade out. I'd love to double down right now and say that the assumption is 4 returning starters. I'd like to say 3 returning starters. I would. I just don't know if I have it in me. I mean, they have to get better. That's the thing. Man, you've got to protect Trevor Lawrence. You've got to give this guy time. If you don't take Trevor Lawrence to the elite level, this team is never going to advance. And again, you can defensive tackle me all you want. You can safety me. You can tell me you need a second corner. You can tell me you need a third pass rush. I'll listen to you all. But if you do not elevate the performance of Trevor Lawrence, this organization is going to fall into quicksand. And then you're going to be saying, hey, Ballou, why isn't Cam Ward throwing? Hey, Ballou, why isn't Shedeur Sanders throwing? Because Jacksonville's going to be right back in the market for a quarterback. It's going to be a few years because of that deal. And none of you want to deal with that. Get the best offensive line that you possibly can. Use your top resources to get a right guard. Get a second wide receiver. And build it, and build it, and build it, and build it. That's what this team has to do. That's my opinion. All right. Let's get to you. Let's get to you on this. My goodness. Let me check YouTube for... Salt's checked right in. Salt immediately... He's called it incarnate wood. Isn't it incarnate word where the career actually did begin?
Yeah, Ward, but word sounds a lot better.
I got to give it up to Salt. He called it incarnate wood. All right. Little Big Man is in already. Hey, geez, I just love you folks on YouTube. And I was joking yesterday about, how fat guys spill. Right? Remember Michael Jordan named Jerry Krause, Crumbs Krause? And it's like, fat guys don't get crumbs in their shirts. Fat guys don't spill. Well, sure enough, I walked in today. What I have all over my shirt, Dylan?
It looked like a dark soda, like some kind of Dr. Pepper.
It was chocolate ice cream.
But yeah,
right there above right there above this, run behind me. The right pack, if I could use that word. Let's get to you on the other side. 641-1010. Best way to do it. Text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
Tensions build.
3rd and 12. Let's go.
Plot thickens.
We got to get off the field.
Crowds roar. Tune in and let the show begin. Your home for live play-by-play is 1010XL.
This is the sound of turning small bets into legendary wins. Only on the Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app. The sound of parlays. The sound of paydays. The sound of watching the game will never be the same. Hard Rock Bet has already paid out millions and millions in parlays to people across Florida. Download Hard Rock Bet now, and if your first bet doesn't win, get up to $100 back as a bonus bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to play. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
The Jacksonville Icemen are back at home this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Savannah Ghost Pirates and Greenville Swamp Rabbits at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena for Military Appreciation Weekend. Presented by CSX and the Nimnick family of dealerships. Join as we honor our military with special jerseys and pregame festivities. Friday and Saturday's game time 7, Sunday at 3. You and your family can take a shot on goal on the ice after the game. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksIceman.com, or call 602-HOCK. Iceman Hockey is #Frozen Frenzy.
Open early and open late. Dailies is always there, making things easy for you to cruise in and cruise out. So hit Dailies Cold Case the next time you're craving a cold one. Bud Light by the case. Plus plenty of singles to choose from. Corona to the King of Beers to Stella or a Natty. They're all cold at Dailies.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, here to share with you an actual client review.
Dude, these shirts are sick.
Check out the shirts and other sick promo items at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
This Day in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 27, 1959, Boston Celtics point guard Bob Cousy sets NBA record with 28 assists.
What's the major difference between a crocodile and an alligator? The answer next.
Lightning, storms, and hurricane winds can ruin recent home improvements.
Let Southern Oak Insurance review your policy today. Visit us online at southernoakins.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
While an alligator will see you later, a crocodile will see you after a while.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
No matter what the reason, sending a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers always works. For unique and special gifts, visit their showroom on Beach Boulevard. ET here with Tintin XL. Kuhn Flowers is my go-to, and it should be yours too. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is teaming up with the NFL to inspire change. From now to draft day, Big Brothers Big Sisters is following the NFL draft, aiming to recruit potential bigs. Hi, I'm Brent from the 1010 sales team. I'm committed as a mentor, and we need you to step up and become a mentor too. There's a waiting list of more than 50 children hoping for a mentor. It's just a few hours a month. Be a mentor. Become a big. Visit bbbsnefl.org. Be a mentor or visit Big Brothers Big Sisters and click on Big Draft.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Day 4 NFL Combine. Good to have you with us. Thank you to Demetrius Harvey. Good stuff there from the Jaguars beat writer with the Florida Times Union. My guy is gone. Trey Smith, all gone. $23.4 million he will return to the Kansas City Chiefs as their starting right guard. Obviously, they'll try to work and put together a future deal for the 25-year-old. But he's a prime example right there of being able to find guys. Because 4 years ago, he was a 6th-round pick. And if he was the test free agent Waters, he would have been the highest-paid guard in pro football. And I was hoping Jacksonville was going to give him that money. Dylan, this is really interesting. Our friend Destin Adams, based out of Indianapolis, does a real good job covering the NFL draft, tweeted out earlier today that all of everyone except for one scout, all the scouts that he has spoken with, only one scout has Travis Hunter listed as a cornerback. Everyone else saying wide receiver for Travis Hunter.
I seen your tweet on that. I was kind of surprised as well. We had D-Rock in studio earlier today, and he kind of said that the people that he talked to, he didn't talk to a lot of scouts, but he said that it's either if you're comparing Travis Hunter as a receiver, they're comparing him to Jerry Rice, or if it's a DB, it's Deion Sanders. It's like, what are we doing, man? Like, all you're going to do when you send out these comps to people is you're just going to be let down. by anything he does his first year.
This guy's got bust written all over him.
Yes, 100%. From everything that we're saying about him.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like I hope he doesn't fall to number 5. And then, I get serious and I'm like, well, of course, if he falls, you take him. You have to take him. It's can't miss ability, but my gosh, man, they are building him up. I mean, Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders. And then Hacker, who, of course, comes on after me, he said that through all the draft analysis he's done, everyone has told him that he is going to be a DB. So I found this fascinating today coming out of Indy. But, that is the very late, that is the very latest there as far as that is concerned. So we move along from Trey Smith. You can still address this in 13 days. Actually, let's make that 11 days. Legal tampering begins on March 10th. Again, do you throw a lot of money at Becton? Do you throw a lot of money at Fries? Do you try to make a trade for Jonah Jackson? Right? I mean, Gladstone's familiar with him. He's in L.A. As I said at the top of the show, I can't remember a season where it feels like so many teams are trying to get rid of starting players because they're buried in a contract. And that includes a lot of dead cap money that organizations are going to have to agree upon. I tweeted that out a little bit earlier today. It was the top 10 Jaguar players contractually speaking. And I was like, how many do you think this organization would be willing to get rid of? And, Brandon Sheriff is already gone. I think if you didn't have dead cap money, this organization would say goodbye to Christian Kirk. They would say goodbye to Evan Ingram. They would say goodbye to Devon Hamilton. I really believe that. And let's give you the very latest. According to overthecap.com, the Jaguars' dead cap money, they're going to have to swallow $13.8 million for Brandon Sheriff. All right? Roy Robertson-Harris, they still have to swallow $7.7 million. Blake Hance, $400K. So that's $22 million. And, all that means is it goes up against the salary cap figure, which did increase today officially by $24 million. So the 2025 salary cap for all 32 teams officially beginning on March 12th will be $279.2 million. And that is what the Jaguars have to work with. This is unofficial. I'm looking right now at $38,146,000 according to Over the Cap. I don't know if that is applied to the brand new salary cap structure or if they'll wait until March 12th in order to do that. I read it daily, so when those figures change, I will certainly let you know. No question about it. Yada, 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 yada. You know what? I want to get to say, well, wait, hold on now. Hold on. Here we go again. 70-92. Go after Zaire Alexander, cornerback from the Packers, and draft Abdul Carter if he's there. Okay. Now, Anthony Campanile just came over from Green Bay. He knows everything about Zaire Alexander. Here's what I'll tell you. Zaire Alexander in the last 3 games, or last 3 years, it's not Zaire, it's Jair, right? Isn't it with a J? He spelled it with a Z. Isn't it Jair Alexander?
J.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Jair Alexander, 28 years of age. Only played 7 games last year. He's only played 18 games in the last 3 years. I can't make the move. I don't want to go through the whole Armstead, Savage, Davis thing. You've heard me say that about every show because it's right there in the frontal lobe, and it won't go away. This team made a drastic mistake a year ago by bringing in injured free agents. You can't trade and make a move. And when I look at guys like Jair Alexander and I look at Will Fries and I look at Chris Godwin, I kind of want to make an exception for Godwin. But I want this organization to bring in healthy football players, not damaged goods. and not pay them a ton of money and say, oh, they're going through it every day. They're working out fine. Hope to have them back by the right. No, bring in healthy guys. Again, he's played 18 games in the last 3 years at the age of 28. He is injury prone. Staying away from him 100%. No question about that. Hey, let's begin our second hour by getting you involved with the program, getting a lot of really good stuff that's coming in. You mentioned Abdul Carter, right? Scary story that surfaced last night that there's a stress-related issue, lower leg. Could it, right foot, could it lead to surgery? Early on it was like, yeah, surgery. Then all of a sudden it was like, hold on here. No, he's going to try to prove his way through it and show everyone that he doesn't need surgery. Dr. Kevin Kaplan and their staff, they will look at this. Okay, they will absolutely monitor this. They're very good. He's one player. I don't do this often because it's bad. It's bad to tease and then not throw it in. But I've heard from a couple of people that there could be a possibility of another top player that is being talked about an awful lot who is less than 100%. I'm not going to be the one to throw that name out there. I don't need to. I don't want to. And I won't. But if that was the case, it could certainly change the thinking with a lot of people. That's why I made fun kind of the combine at the top of the show where it's almost becoming the Pro Bowl, where these guys aren't doing what you want them to do. I mean, in a perfect world, they'd be throwing. We would have seen Mason Graham go through all the drills today. All he did was the bench press. They're not. What this really becomes important for is interviewing and your medicals. I mean, when you're being pulled and one direction, the other, and they're testing your ligaments, and they're testing, and they become privy to your injury history and your X-rays and everything else. That is a scary situation, and I think some teams can gamble with an injured guy, especially if you're a very successful team, and you believe that maybe it's going to be a little bit, but in the long run, it's going to be worth it. No, not Jacksonville. No. You move on, and you find a healthy football player. At least that's the way I am looking at this. Gene Hackman passed today, 95. What a bizarre story. Found with his wife and one of their dogs. I don't even know what to make of it. But what a life, man. 95 years. And for me, he'll always be Popeye Doyle. One of my all-time favorite movies is the French Connection. But he was so good. I mean, I do rank here and there. When I look at my favorite actors, I would have to put Hackman in my top 10. I would. I mean, for me, I'm all about the De Niro and the Eastwood and Nicholson and Pacino and that. And don't politics me. Just because I like these guys doesn't mean I agree with their politics, okay? Just like I love rock and roll and I love lead singers. I don't agree with their politics. I don't listen to their politics. Okay? I admire them for their acting skills. I admire them for their rock and roll skills. I could care less what they say politically speaking. Poseidon Adventure was a phenomenal film. Lex Luger in Superman, right? Everyone's making did I say Lex Luger? Wasn't that the wrestler? How about Lex Luthor? Right? Lex Luger was old school WCW, I think. But everyone's making a Superman now. He was great in the original that came way back out. Runaway Jerry, although the book was better. Then he played like small roles in like The Firm. I mean, he was such a stud in The Firm. And, I know everyone's sports related, brings up Hoosiers. I liked Hoosiers. It was just way too predictable, right? I mean, have the shot hit iron and they lose, then it's more real. I mean, it was a pre-made happy ending. Give me a Bad News Bears ending where the kid gets thrown out at home plate and everyone cries. But, I thought spaghetti westerns kind of ended in the late 70s with Clint, but, his role in Unforgiven was spectacular. So we lost Gene Hackman today at the age of 95. What a big time life. I think he was real close with Jack Del Rio. I do. There may be some out there listening who could confirm that or aware of that, but I do. I think he was very close to the Del Rio family, I believe. Jack Del Rio's like a coach now out in France or something. Didn't he take off? I think he's somewhere, man.
Somewhere national.
Yeah, he's gone. He's long gone, Jack Del Rio. Let's get ready for hour number 2. We call it Into the Night.
For many, it's the happiest place on earth.
At 17 in Players Championship.
Get live Southeast Orthopedic Specialist leaderboard updates.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling.
And Beaver Toyota.
On 1010XL.
Reclaim a pain-free life with Rebound Rehab. If you've been injured or simply feeling the effects of an active life, you can rely on Rebound Rehabilitation to get you back in the game. Sitting on the sidelines isn't any fun. Trust Rebound Rehab's team of trained physical therapists to get you back up to speed and feeling full again. Now more convenient than ever. 11 locations to serve you, including new offices in Riverside across from St. Vincent's, Point Meadows, and Middleburg. Just log on to reboundrehab.com to see all they've got to offer.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy and healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
These days, we do everything from our phones. That's why JEA's app lets you manage your utility services anytime, anywhere. Whether you want to view your account, pay your bill, sign up for programs, or check the outage map, you can do it all right from the app, when and where it's convenient for you. Because we want to make doing business with us as quick and easy as possible. Download the free JEA app from the App Store today. JEA, your community, your utility.
The team at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to book your next round of golf with us. At Hidden Hills, we love the game, and we'll provide you with a memorable golf experience at one of the most unique golf courses in North Florida. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Elevate your happy hour at the new Dua Restaurant and Lounge on Bay Meadows Road. Inspired by the vibrant and diverse culinary traditions of the Mediterranean, Dua has a unique South Florida vibe and welcoming atmosphere. Savor handcrafted cocktails and delicious happy hour specials every Monday to Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Whether kicking back after work or starting your night in style, Dua Restaurant and Lounge on Bay Meadows Road is where good times and great flavors meet. DuaLoungeJacks.com.
Gun charges, drug charges. I'm Attorney Malcolm Anthony, and I specialize in handling these types of felony cases. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Hon, who'd you call to fix our plumbing issue?
I forget their name. They said they do plumbing work.
Then what's that big thing they're driving?
Looks like a grease truck.
Grease truck?
To pump the grease traps.
You wouldn't call a landscaper to floor your home, so why call a grease trap company for a plumbing issue? Duck Rooter is your certified plumbing contractor, specializing in all things plumbing. Get Jacksonville's real plumbing pros. Visit duckrooter.com, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Tired of a plain and boring backyard? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop choice to beautify your home. With pavers, stonework, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, pergolas, and driveways. Visit stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
Hello
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Getting a lot of stuff that's rolling in on Gene Hackman, my buddy Andrew Winfield, or Andre Winfield, has an old photo with Luke Del Rio, Jack, and Gene Hackman getting ready for a Florida Gator practice. So I thought I knew that with Gene Hackman. You know, a lot of movies as well. Crimson Tide. In the Submarine. That's a book I'm almost finished with. I think I'll get done with it tonight on the USS Indianapolis and the delivery of the bomb, which ended World War II, in the Philippine waters. And the ship was sunk by a Japanese submarine. I think they blew out 6 torpedoes, but 4 hit. And I know that there's such a cover-up, and this just in, today's a pretty big day in our country with these files that are getting released, and I'm not going to talk about politics, but I have followed it throughout the years. This book, I cannot believe the cover-up and the finger-pointing. And again, we're talking about, 1945, I believe, but the fact that they left those members of our Navy in those waters for like 4.5 days, and they had no idea that ship had sunk. I mean, how can something like that happen? And they were refused coverage by an airplane, one of the higher-ups. I'm not going to rip the military. I have too much respect for the military. But this book is frightening. And the book was written like a few years later. It's been, I think they gave it a once-over, maybe a facelift. Peter Moss, you may have read Peter Moss before. He does some pretty good true crime, some mafia stuff. So I got it. And selfishly, I kind of got it because I was really interested in, the whole part of them being in the water and the shark attacks and just all of that. And, of course, Quint talks about that in Jaws when they delivered the bomb. And that's a couple of chapters. But now it's just getting into the legal ways, and it's almost sickening. It's almost appalling. But anyway, that Crimson Tide, the submarine movie, made me think of that. So there you go. 0148 Blues, and they're a right guard from Tampa that might follow Cohen to Duval. Well, the right guard in Tampa was Ben Bredesen. He's not highly regarded. He's not highly ranked. So I think cost affordable, you could get him. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know if he's good or he's not good. The offensive line to me is always the most difficult position because the ball doesn't follow the offensive line. The camera doesn't follow the offensive line. The camera follows the football. But I think you have to trust what is going to happen there, that if all of a sudden you find out that this man is coming over, Liam Cohen thinks he would be the answer at right guard, but he is down quite a bit. It's not a bad free agency class at guard. It's really not. And again, you will have others that can become available via trade. And that includes Jonah Jackson, getting ready for his second year, a 3-year deal in Los Angeles. No doubt about that. 0924, my biggest concern is there are too many cooks in the kitchen, the best resume, yada, 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 yada. Plus the kid controlling the team in hindsight. Yeah, yeah. And I did ask Demetrius Harvey about this last hour. It's the only skeptic that's coming out for me. And I've already fully gone through that and explained my way of thinking. But you know what I've noticed is that for the most part, you don't disagree with me. You just think I'm being a buzzkill. So that directly says to me that I'm on to something. I'm not trying to be a buzzkill. You know that. Why the hell would I do that to you? I want you people to enjoy your life. Enjoy your days. It is my biggest concern, though. And you know what? I hope it works. I do. But I just have always been a believer my entire life that there's one final boss. And I don't know how collaboration is going to work. It sounds really good, doesn't it? It's a young staff. It's a young front office. They're all doing it for the first time. How will they handle adversity? And I'm not talking about cut Christian Kirk, not cut Christian Kirk. They can do that behind the scenes with none of us having any idea what's going on. I think they are going to be able to connect with these players. You saw the NFLPA rankings that came out yesterday. They despise Doug Peterson. I think some of it's on the players. They're babies nowadays. Maybe this younger group, this younger staff will know how to relate to these players. I hope so. But what about when adversity comes up? How are they going to handle things if this team's all of a sudden loses a couple games in a row? I mean, you know what things are like when you lose. Winning solves everything. If you win, everything is great, right? But when you lose, that's when excuses are made. You begin to finger point. You begin to talk behind people's backs. You get sick of one another. I mean, you round each other day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night. It becomes tiresome, especially when things are not going well. So, yeah, that is my biggest problem. And I hope I'm wrong. Ballou, is your opinion on swapping first-round picks with Cincinnati for T Higgins? Where is Cincinnati in the first round? Do we know? They got to be midway through. They didn't make the playoffs.
They got to be like 17. I'll check.
Please do. Listen, I love the idea of T Higgins, but I think we also have to understand that it's going to cost about $40 million a year to get T Higgins.
17.
Do you want to? Thank you. 17th in the draft. So, all right. Swapping picks. You still get a good pick and T Higgins. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to be able to do that. Again, T Higgins is the number one ranked free agent. The guy who went today, Trey Smith, and most of these boards was the number 2 ranked free agent. Obviously, the move was made today by Kansas City where he's no longer a free agent. He can still be traded. Let me see what's the deadline for. Well, we'll know next week. March 4th is the deadline where teams must designate either a franchise or transition player. Okay, today is the 27th. So next week we will know. Cincinnati has a very important move. It makes total sense to tag him, right? And then maybe try to trade him on draft day. But here's the deal. And we saw the blueprint a year ago with Hassan Reddick, right? Weren't there 2 huge trades? Who was the other one? The former Knoll, Brian Burns. He went from Carolina to New York, and they extended him. They gave him like a 4-year deal, enormous money, And then Reddick went over to New York, the Jets, and never reported because they would not give him what he wanted. So the assumption would be, in my opinion, T. Higgins would love to come here. Play with Trevor Lawrence. Quality of life. Playing into it. Yeah, but he's going to want to get paid. So making the trade is one part of this. Man, you have to make a trade, and then I already know through T. Higgins' agency that he's going to accept these amount of years for this amount of cash and this amount of guaranteed money. So it's not as easy as it sounds, but heck yeah, if I found out that they did that, I'd be all for it. Now, they have to make a couple of changes. I mean, you're going to have to say goodbye to Christian Kirk. Yeah. Some of the stuff you folks are asking me about, I'm glad I almost proofread before I answer all of these. But again, even though at times I may not sound like I'm the sharpest tool in the drawer, I'm going to stack pads. You're not going to slide one by me. I'm going to look at it. I have that in me where I can read it. And maybe you could see me on YouTube when I read, even though you're not hearing anything. You see my lips move. All right, that means I'm pre-reading it. And then I'm actually going to come out with it. But, boy, we hear from a lot of military coming in here now. Thank you to all of our military. Okay? Folks telling me what really happened back in the sinking of the USS Indianapolis. Again, my grandfather, Chick, he was in one of those huge, aircraft carriers. Or I know there's a difference between an aircraft carrier and what's the other term? A fighter or a battleship? I'm not even sure. But he was in one years ago in the Navy. And my dad served in the Army. One of my favorite cousins was in the Marines. So, military family. Not me. I didn't elect to go that way. But, man, I have so much respect for you. 58-15, Ballou, since you're not going to let T. Higgins walk. The plan is to tag him, work on a long-term deal. Yeah, I don't think you can allow a talent like that to move on. They made one Super Bowl. Cincinnati has a ton of problems, right? Primarily their problems have been what? Offensive line. Remember they totally rebuilt it 2 years ago? I'm not going to say that Jacksonville's offensive line was as bad as Cincinnati's offensive line 2 years ago. And that's kind of crazy because Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl. But they allowed so many sacks to Joe Burrow. And right now, when you have a quarterback the quality of Joe Burrow, can you allow a T. Higgins to go if you get better on the offensive line? Is he so good that you can get another wide receiver who's not going to cost you $40 million a year? He may cost you $12 or $15 or $18 million a year, but you have so much faith in your quarterback that you can make that move. The importance becomes the OL. See, around here, it's different. You don't know about Trevor Lawrence. He's not in Joe Burrow's category. He's not close to Joe Burrow. So you got to do both. You got to get him the offensive line that is the best that you can possibly build, and he needs another weapon. Absolutely needs another weapon. I mean, to me, that was the best part of what Gladstone said yesterday, or I guess it was Tuesday, about protection. Keep him on the field. And that is going to be so fascinating to me to see what ends up happening. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but it should be documented as well that if you're part of the Jonah Jackson conversation and the relationship there between Les Snead with the Rams and now James Gladstone here, and you want Jonah Jackson, who has 2 years remaining on his deal, to be your right guard, well, there's an $8.5 million guaranteed bonus that kicks in on March 12th. This becomes funny money. And I just don't know what else Jacksonville's going to do. Yesterday, the vibe felt like Evan Ingram was the guy. I know. I didn't talk about this yesterday. Here's a quote from Gladstone on Tuesday. Quote, really, we was asked about Brenton Strange. quote, really excited about his ascension. I think he will have a part in the offense in a way we haven't seen yet. And I don't want to overdo it, okay? I don't want to look into it too much, but it's February, and that's part of the plan this month, and we're trying to figure stuff out. I read this, and it almost seems to me, let's save the $6 million. Bye-bye, Evan Ingram. I've also spoken with someone that has really intrigued me, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, that even though Evan Ingram is a very productive football player, he's a very good football player, the Liam Cohen offense in Tampa was far more horizontal and screen-related than it was vertical. And does this offense set well for Evan Ingram? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't, because it is a new philosophy. It is a new style. You're going to see under center. You're going to see him line up and run. You're going to see them hopefully play man football. And if he's a safety valve, and he was consistent, I mean, the guy caught a ton of balls 2 years ago when he was healthy. Again, can you get that same thing out of Brenton Strange? Can you get more balls screen-related going to Travis Etienne like he got 2 years ago? Just making you think. I've thought all along that out of the two, they cut Kirk, they keep Ingram. Based on a conversation yesterday, then listening to him, my mind kind of switched on me. I was like, almost feels like Ingram's gone and that Kirk's going to hang. And then Kirk came out with one of his bizarre yearly tweets yesterday. You know, he does it every year. Kirk, and listen, these are two really good guys. These are two good locker room guys. They just have really bad contracts. I mean, their cap numbers for Christian Kirk, $24 million for an often injured slot wide receiver who's aging? Hell no. No. Evan Ingram, $19,485,000. I'd like to make that work. I'd move on from Kirk. And I know he's Trevor's best bud. I know he's a good guy. You can't rely on him. It's the same thing I said to you when we were talking about Jair Alexander, who's played 18 games in 3 years. You can't rely on him. It's the same thing I yelled about every year when it came to Cam Robinson. You couldn't rely on him anymore. Cam Robinson wouldn't give you 17 games. He kept getting injured, or he was selfish and got popped for 4 games for PEDs. No. You got to move on from guys that are not 100%. All right, let's continue on here after the break. Getting a lot of good stuff coming in tonight on the text line. My goodness, look at YouTube. Clifton and Sean and the Railman still trying to. Let me know, CT. Are you out in Connecticut tonight? If so, it's like 80 degrees here in Duval. I hope that's just your handle and you're not in Connecticut. Not as though Connecticut wouldn't be a bad place to be, especially if you lean towards Boston and not New York. We got much more to do. 641-1010 is the best way to join us on our text line. That's brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
The head football coach at the Episcopal School of Jacksonville, Mark Brunell.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select
1010XL.
Rick Ballou for Carlson Dental. You know, I've been telling you this for quite some time because it's true. I hate going to the dentist, or at least I used to hate going to the dentist. I had total anxiety, and then I tried sedation, light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation as well for cavities and root canals. Folks, it's an incredible experience. So don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Go to carlsondentalgroup.com. That's carlsondentalgroup.com for all of your dental needs.
Hey y'all, I'm Hannah with the Deck Guys. We've been locally owned and operated for over 10 years in the outdoor living space. If you are looking to get spring projects started, like a new deck, pavers installed, or maybe a pergola, we would love to earn your business. Just remember,
call the Deck Guys if you want a brand new deck, pavers, or more. Call 2-4-7-4.
TheDeckGuysJacks.com.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com, enter 1010 for a discount.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic.
You're what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow. I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but...
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses.
Whoa.
Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Get more Gators with Dan Hickett and me, Frank Frangie, on all things Gators on 1010XL Gators Podcast, with new episodes every Monday, brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror, fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Campbell, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Staying Alive, one night of the Bee Gees, comes to Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts March 6th. A tribute like you've never seen before. Staying Alive features the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist, performed live. Experience Night Fever, More Than a Woman, How Deep Is Your Love, and more live on stage. Staying Alive, one night of the Bee Gees, March 6th at Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, visit my buddy Dr. McGowan at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. You have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits, even if you're at fault. And no matter what you hear, you have the right to choose your own doctor. So I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Their auto experts will guide you in every step of the way to ensure the care that you need. Your recovery starts with McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation.
It's game time for your business, and Advanced Business Solutions has the winning play. With Xerox copiers, you'll never miss a deadline. Fast, reliable, and built for high performance, Xerox copiers keep your team ahead of the competition. From printing to scanning, Xerox brings the MVPs of efficiency to your office. Ready to make the winning move? Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions. Veteran owned.
Printers, copiers, and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
Where on your body is the weenus? The answer next.
When you call Southern Oak and file a claim, you'll be handled by our hand-picked vendors who will analyze any roof, storm, or water damage. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The weenus is your elbow skin and can be pinched as hard as you want, and it will never cause pain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Yo, E.T. here, and are you looking for some good food, outdoors fun, and plenty to do? My old stomping grounds in Clay County is the place to be. Check out Clay's diverse local restaurants. They have barbecue, seafood, and Latin restaurants that hit the spot. Paddle alongside the scenic waterways, cast a line, or hit the trail. And the events. there's always something to do for you and the fam. Check out exploreclay.com to plan your next adventure. And when you do, make sure you hashtag ExploreClay on social.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
You know, last year was pretty bizarre. It was the first time ever in the history of the NFL draft that there was not a defensive player taken in the top 10. That is not going to be the case in 46 days. CBS came out with their latest mock draft. Cam Ward to trade up with the Jets. Mason Graham going 2 to Cleveland. I think that's the only way Jacksonville, as I said, I think they're going to move off 5. That's the vibe I got today. That's subject to change, right? I can change my mind on that again coming up in the future here, Dylan, right? This isn't a fine lead number 2 pencil.
Yeah, we change our opinion based on the information we have.
Sometimes we change our opinion halfway through a game. But that's the only way I see Jackson will try. I see him trading down. But trading up would be if they just love Mason Graham. Or they just love Abdul Carter. Or they just love Travis Hunter. And they feel they have to have him. I think that, you know, that is where they would go. But anyway, you know, Mason Graham 2 to Cleveland. Travis Hunter 3 to the Giants. Will Campbell, who I'm set on now, going 4th to the Patriots. Patriots need a left tackle. Okay, he may not have the arms to be a left tackle. He may measure in under 33 inches and be set as a guard. Jacksonville could maybe trade down and get him at 7, 8, 9, 10. But that's an interesting one to me. CBS Sports has Abdul Carter falling to number 5 in Jacksonville. And again, he's got a health-related issue. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Then it's Vegas getting the quarterback Sanders, McMillan, who I love, going 7th. Jalen Walker, another defensive player, Kelvin Banks, the second-ranked, highest-ranked offensive lineman, coming in there. So, you know, just something to monitor. And there'll be more coming out of the combine over the next few days. And then, obviously, the pro days will come to work. And we'll get much more information there. 3600 Blue, $6 million and possibly your number 2 offensive player. He's a keep. I'm with you. As I've said, I don't want to give up Evan Ingram. I absolutely do not. And I'm keeping him on this roster. Christian Kirk is a different story. If you say goodbye to him, you're going to bring back $10.5 million. You're going to have to eat $13,652,000. I almost feel like mentioning post-June 1st is almost useless. I remember doing it all last year with Cam Robinson. They did nothing. I remember doing it all last year with Zay Jones. And they let Zay Jones go long before June 1st. They let him go in March. And Jacksonville ended up eating like $4 million more. So let's see here. But you look at the post numbers for Ingram, and they're spectacular. If you waited post June 1st, you would only give up $7.8 million of dead money, but you'd be able to recoup $16,200,000. But again, recent history has told us don't bet on a post June 1st timeline. I know it sounds like I'm down on Kirk. It's only professionally speaking. The last 2 years, he gave you 8 games, 27 receptions for 379 yards and a touchdown. And I remember a couple of enormous drops. Enormous drops. In 2023, he gave you 12 games, 57 receptions, 787 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I don't even know if I can accept the restructure and extend this man, for another, let's say, 3 years. If you restructure the contract, then you're looking at it, what? At least next year and probably 2027 as a minimum, therefore. I mean, he's 29 years of age. 5'11", 200 pounds, aging. I think that you can get similar play from Parker Washington. Not as good, but similar. And here's a part with Parker Washington that I think needs to be considered. And I haven't heard anyone say it yet. If you just put the faith in him, if you just say, hey, listen, develop some confidence. You're the slot wide receiver. And you go out and you have Brian Thomas Jr. and you address the number 2 wide receiver. And today we've talked about T-Mac. We've talked about Chris Godwin in free agency. We've talked about trading for T Higgins if he's franchised next week. Whatever it may be, you get another dominant wide receiver. I think Parker Washington is fine as a slot guy. Unfortunately, you're still going to have Gabe Davis for one more year because you can't get rid of that contract. Where do you sit with Parker Washington? What do your eyes and ears tell you?
He's all right. A decent, okay 3 receiver on the team. I don't feel comfortable with him playing a main role of the offense if Christian Kirk is let go.
You think they have to go elsewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Free agency, rely on a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. And there's guys out there, but Parker Washington's a guy, I think what he's done for his career, I think it's going to continue. He'll have a good game or 2, maybe 3 games in a season, and that'll be it.
Okay. Lack of consistency. That's understandable. I think some out there would agree with that. Again, it almost feels like I'm settling here, yet I've been so proactive about doing everything that you can to have the best offense possible. There's no debate. Christian Kirk is a better football player than Parker Washington. But Christian Kirk costs $24.5 million. Parker Washington costs $1.1 million. Excuse me, he costs $1,078,000. He doesn't even cost $1.1 million. You're trying to tell me there's a $24 million difference or $23.5 million difference between Christian Kirk and Parker Washington? And I want you to follow me here because I'm talking about saying goodbye to Kirk. You're adding someone else as well. I'm not talking about saying goodbye to Kirk and having let me tell you something right now. If they line up on opening day and it's Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis on opposite ends, and Parker Washington in the slot, then I'm going to be pissed off. All right? You have to understand what I'm saying. Parker Washington becomes your slot guy only if you absolutely address a number 2 wide receiver. Can't have it both ways. Now, you may be thinking, hey, Ballou, guess what? They can afford to do it anyway. Parker Washington's my number 5. Gabe's 4, Parker's 5. I'm going to keep Christian Kirk in the slot, and this team's still going to go out and get a number 2 wide receiver. And the best football team that they can have is Brian Thomas Jr. on one side, the brand new wide receiver on the other side, and Christian Kirk in the slot. Okay. I mean, they got the money. But also what that says to me is somewhere something else is going to suffer. Do they still get the right guard that they want? You just heard our conversation with Demetrius Harvey. I loved it because he's thinking the same way that I'm thinking. He mentioned Miss Morrison as for Cleveland. I'm one of those who believes that the 4/5 of the offensive line is not set. To me, left guard and center has to be one. It does. You know what your tackle positions are, and obviously you're going to have to go out and get a right guard who's a starter. But what if this football team believes that they can get 2 starters, even if it's one of the 3rd-round picks or 4th-round picks, if it's a center or a left guard. I don't know. So it's so fascinating about all of this. You could find good football players. Yeah. I mean, here's another one for Evan Ingram. Yeah, I want Evan Ingram to be a part of this. I do. I want Evan Ingram to be a part. I think Brenton Strange is a good player. He improved mightily last year. He's improved at his run blocking, and he caught some balls. What did he end up catching? 41 footballs, right? Yeah, I think, you're moving forward there. They clearly need one other tight end, whether they bring back Luke Farrell or they, address that by going out and getting another blocking tight end. We'll have to see. All right, let's take our final break of the night. Why don't we do that? Come back, put some final thoughts on this one. Did you see the numbers today that came out from, I think it was my sportsbetting.ag?
I did not.
Total wins, college football, 2025, Florida State. What do you think it is?
5.5.
7.5.
Wow.
Total wins, University of Florida.
6.5.
6.5.
Yep.
Florida State, more wins than I know Florida plays a brutal schedule, but Florida State, Vegas-wise, more wins than Florida, 7.5 to 6.5. Georgia at 10. So maybe I'll take a peek at the schedule. Maybe we'll do that on the other side. I mean, that one really, talk about, whoa. I mean, that was like, I understand they only won 2 games. I just, I haven't really examined the Florida State schedule, but to me, it feels like, it's a bookend that involves losses. I mean, they're opening up against Alabama. Make sure you folks get excited for the start of the season because they're going to lose, right? I mean, Alabama's going to beat Florida State. They're a better team. They have better players. They're a better coached team. And then Florida at the end of the year. So, there goes 12-10 right there. So that means you think you're going 8-2 in the other 10? I mean, if you open up with a loss to Bama and you close with a loss to Florida, you're going 8-2, and you have Miami in there, you have Clemson in there, you have other
NC State, Virginia Tech. You go all the way to California, play at Stanford, I believe.
I mean, if I was a bettor, and I'm not, I would take my Bitcoin right now and I would put it on Florida State under 7.5. I mean, it's so wise. And I'm not being a Debbie Downer here. I'm just being realistic. And this is what's great about the Jaguars. They haven't announced the schedule. We know the opponents. They'll announce the dates in April. But the way that the NFL is you can make a case that you can win about any game. Then there could be certain places where they open up where it's going to be very difficult. If they open up in Philly, open up in Kansas City. Again, I don't even look at their opponents. But that really sucks, college football related, for Florida State fans who've been grieving all off season to know that they're going to lose on opening day. They have no chance of beating Alabama. And that they're going to lose during the final game of the year. They're not going to go into Florida and win. So give me 8 wins out of those other 10 games. I am listening. All right, with you tonight till 8 o'clock.
Big moment. Play-by-play is full of plot twists.
Did that just happen?
And high-octane drama.
And this game is tied.
Experience the most play-by-play sports on 1010XL.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This is Mark Nato. My sons and I have seen the doctors and PAs at Southeast Ortho for everything from lumbar spine stress to elbow tendonitis. Southeast has always been there, been truthful, and always been on point. Everything they say happens. We can't thank them enough for what they've done and the great care that they have taken of our sons.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
I'm Hayes Carline, and I'll give you glimpses of future NFL stars and who could be a good fit here in Jacksonville. Listen for Combine Commentary with Carline during the Frangie Show on 1010XL, brought to you by Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Pizza to T here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy and healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Well, it was day 4 at the Combine in Indianapolis. Unfortunately, one of the top ranked prospects elected not to work out today. That included Travis Hunter. That included Will Johnson. Interesting enough, the Jaguars have not met with him, top-ranked corner, on a lot of boards. Hey, I mean, Jacksonville's going to pack up their entire team to go to Ann Arbor, right? With Kenneth Graham there, Mason Graham there, Will Johnson there. Mason Graham, we talked about yesterday, primarily, the entire first hour and a half. 6'3.5" 296 pounds, so way down from his 320, 322. Arms 32 inches. All right, I'll say it. Shock me. I'm going to say it. Trent Baalke would have eliminated him. He's only got an arm length of 32 inches. He will only do the bench press. Haven't seen the results. I did see Joshua Farmer ran a 5.12, which is pretty good. Of course, he's going to be down in the draft. But overall, it was a pretty good day there for what we were able to see. The bad news for me is the guy that I had Jacksonville getting first in free agency, Trey Smith, has been franchised by the Kansas City Chiefs. So he gets a 1-year, $23.4 million, and they'll obviously try to put together a long-term contract extension for him. If you're in the T Higgins camp, remember you have until March 4th to designate a franchise tag. Let me see. Today is the 27th, so March 4th is Tuesday. That'll be the final day. And I know a lot of you want to actually see that happen. We shall see. So, hey, tomorrow night we'll have another live report straight from Indianapolis. We'll be joined by John Shipley, who covers the Jaguars for Sports Illustrated. That'll be part of things coming up on Friday. All right, couple of final thoughts here. 0882 Ballou, you're 100% correct. Went back and watched some of the Trevor T Higgins today. Absolutely amazing what he can do behind a solid offensive line. There's no doubt. And that has been a huge emphasis by both Liam Cohen and by James Gladstone. Has to. Man, they got to fix it. I understand it doesn't move the needle. I get it. 95.99. Ballou, Knowles are going to rock this year. Positive energy, brother. Give me some of that. Give me some of that Knoll love. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Hell, while you're at it, tell me I'm a closet Gator. Yeah. Why not? That's always the one I love the most. There was a couple others I wanted to get in here before Hacker Nation. So many good ones today. 1681 Blue went into big money free agent, still making Jags. A superintendent does not spend big money on anyone. Big money, free agents, some have worked. It was actually, the 1-year show me deal for Evan Ingram worked. I thought the Christian Kirk contract initially worked. The Foye Oluokun contract worked. Who else am I thinking? The Brandon Sheriff. It feels like Sheriff grades out better than the eye test. You understand what I'm saying with that? To me, he was never that much of a difference maker. But I guess if you were to grade him, it would be a passing grade. It's certainly not an A. Who else am I missing? Shaq Griffin, no. Marvin Jones Jr., no. So, yeah, I mean, you're talking about overpaying guys, right? And obviously last year's free agency class was just terrible. I mean, it was just god-awful. I mean, even guys they got late and they didn't spend a lot of money on it didn't work out. If you look at Ronald Darby, and who's the best free agent they had last year? I think you'd be forced to say Mitch Morse. And then you get into he's a gutty veteran, he's better than Luke Fortner. I think you can save another $3 million by cutting Luke Fortner. See that real quick before we bring in Hacker. I want to say I went over that a couple of weeks ago, and if you got the money, you keep the best 53 football players. But if you cut a guy, even if you get back something that doesn't sound like a ton of money, because it's $3 million, but you can, apply that elsewhere, then that's absolutely what you do. Let's see. This is year 3 for Luke Fortner. 15. Actually, is that post June 1st? I don't see any figures right now on Luke Fortner. I read that somewhere, though. That's pretty interesting to me. I'll track back on that. According to overthecap.com, though, nothing there with Luke Fortner. It says their salary cap charge $3.6 million. Okay. All right, here we go. For Luke Fortner, if you were to cut him, he makes $3.6 million. You need $295,000. You'd be able to bring back $3,325,000. Okay? So this guy, that's what you got to ask yourself. Can you find a better center? And if so, do you cut him? Do you cut Mitch Morse? A lot of people think they're going to go address center. Even the kid who's a free agent out of Atlanta. That'll be interesting to see what does take place.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
What's going on, Hacker Nation?
Watching a lot of combine. A lot of guys running around in a T-shirt and shorts, but I'm into it, man. I'm going to watch all 4 days of it.
My number one guy was snatched up today. The franchise tag went to Trey Smith.
Yeah, I saw you tweet that, and I was going to bring it up. And look, I love the conversation because you and I disagree on a couple of things. I don't doubt that Trey Smith's a good football player, and maybe this is just Jaguar stress disorder that I have. I've had that song and dance with Andrew Norwell and Zane Beatles and Brandon Sheriff. I've done $15 million a year for the best interior offensive lineman in free agency. And it, for the most part, has sucked every time. Has. So I'm pretty happy Kansas City franchised him.
Well, the other side of Trey Smith is 4 years ago, he was selected in the 6th round.
Yeah.
You can find good football players.
I'll tell you, Trey Smith, that's back when I was doing recruiting for Gridiron Now. I did a one-on-one with Trey Smith at the Marriott in Orlando of the Under Armour All-American game back before he went to Tennessee. So I go way back with Trey Smith. But look, he's going to get his money. I'm happy it's not going to be here in Jacksonville. And I know you said you would cut Kirk. My response to that is not just you, it's a lot of people. And I brought this up last night. All right, if you can find a way to get T Higgins, then sure, I'm with you. I just don't think that's reality. To me, you look at the free agents outside of Chris Godwin and maybe Hollywood Brown. I would have a conversation with you about Hollywood Brown if he's healthy. Outside of those two, there's just not a better option, at least in free agency, than Kirk. Now, if you want to trade for Cooper Kupp, that's a separate issue. But I just don't know if you cut Kirk if you're not guaranteed to get Chris Godwin, Hollywood Brown, or find a way, if the planets align, to get T Higgins.
Yeah, and Hollywood Brown's a guy that you really never know. And you got guys that are getting older, like Stephon Diggs, who's 31, Amari Cooper, who's 31.
Keenan Allen, you know.
I mean, do you trade? Would you like George Pickens on this team? I'd love it. What are your thoughts there?
What does it cost you?
Yeah, well, not only does it cost you something, but we saw with Hassan Reddick a year ago, you're going to have to give him a long-term contract extension or he'll never put his 2 feet in Duval.
No. Look, there are so many aspects, and I know you've talked about this. I'm going to continue the conversation, and I got to get my mind out of this mindset. They have lost 18 out of their last 23. There needs to be drastic changes here. Who are the guys that are untouchable? I know there's a lot of conversation tonight. Is Evan Ingram, really safe. I heard you talking about, James Gladstone's thoughts on Brenton Strange. You would save $6 million with Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's probably one of your 10 best players, right? Maybe one of your 5 best players. But there's legitimate thought that he might not be back. I think that speaks volumes to where this team was at the end of the Peterson-Balky tenure.
Yeah, and again, 18 to 23, I think by all these first-timers, being realistic is you can't build it to win it this year.
Right.
But you can build it to become a much better football team. Some people think they're not going to spend it all in free agency because they really did overspend, even though they re-signed their own players. They did that a year ago, and then the free agents they brought in did not work. So this could be a hold-it-back year, try to develop some younger players. That's what makes it that much more fascinating. All right, what's coming up?
Yeah, we'll go to Indianapolis. Marcus Mosher, 33rd team. Really enjoy the conversation with Marcus every time I have him on. We'll talk free agency. We'll talk draft. Liam Cohen, James Gladstone will run the gamut when it comes to the Jaguars. Also, Jordan DeLugo will join us from Generation Jaguar at the top of the 9 o'clock hour.
Have a good show.
Thanks, Rick.
There he goes, Hacker Nation. As a matter of fact, he's not going anywhere. I'm going. He's coming up. Thank you to Demetrius Harvey. Again, tomorrow, another live report from Indy. We'll hear from John Shipley, Jaguar Sports Illustrated. Sadly, I don't check the text line now that the show is over. I don't go to YouTube or any of that. But you can always get me on Twitter, okay? Or X at Ballou1010XL. Thank you to Dylan Denmark. My name is Rick Ballou. We'll do it again tomorrow night.